Hi guys, so here we are into August. The theme for this month is inventory, and I know that sounds a bit boring. I was wondering about that when I set the tone. Perhaps it's not the word, perhaps we should be focusing on, but more the intention. We're coming in now to kind of halfway through, just over the halfway point of this extremely challenging kind of year really, and this whole year is the stepping out of a enormous paradigm of duality, of patriarchy, of old structures that have held us in good stead, in certain ways, but in other ways it's brought a lot of suffering, and it's brought a lot of inequality, and just kind of now the structures don't really seem to make as much sense as they used to. For lots of people, they still make sense. But I'm assuming that if you're in this group, then you are one of those that feels that there is more that we could do, that there is better that we could do, and that there is a process of evolution that we are part of. So I always think that part of the formation of this group has really been to gather our energies and our forces together so that we can help each other, support each other, and amplify the energy that we bring to it. And I know this sounds fantastical, but I honestly think that one of our aims, or one of our reasons for being, is to hold a certain vibrational frequency that allows others to um, find the path. So it's almost like as we step into the possibility of what we feel is true for us and really hold that, then it allows other people to, it's like we've carved a route, and that makes it a bit easier. So I always think that when I talk about Reiki, for example, Usui was essentially the first path carver. So he kind of paved the way for us to follow in the Reiki footsteps. But in a sense, he was the one that was going first. And then because he went first, he could point in the right direction. And so this is what I feel that we're doing at that kind of amplified energy that we all bring. As we walk our path, we allow others to see it more clearly, the possibility of it. And I think that for many of us, we have different ways of expressing that. We have different ways of modeling it. And this is really what this month is about, is coming into what are your values. And those values might be very different from mine. I'm not saying they have to be the same. However, they are to do with this idea of coming into our own truth and coming into our own authenticity and our own power. And that's the same for all of us. So it's not the opinions that we have that matter. It's the courage to come into our own sense of truth around that. And the opinions might be expressed and might change. Like, I kind of, at the beginning of this whole COVID thing, I was like, COVID's not a thing. And there's, the governments are lying to us and they don't know what they're doing and all this kind of stuff, because fair enough, there was no data on it, right? So no one really knew. And it just felt like a huge kind of overreaction to what was going on. And so I was like, it's nothing. And then as it moved forwards, I realized that actually the data is being collected and it is a thing. And so now I'm like, it's a thing, wear your masks. I'm like, oh, you gotta, like, it's a thing, people. Um, and that, it doesn't actually bother me at all that I've changed my direction completely, because in a sense, I've got new information. And so that new information has informed my intelligence. Now, my core value with that is not to keep stuck on some kind of belief system that I developed 6 months ago. It's actually my core value is speaking my truth. And my truth comes from um, a collection of information and data and experience. So that to me is much more important as a personal value than having an opinion and then defending it. And I think that this is really part of the inventory. It's like, okay, when you talk about personal truth, what are you actually talking about?